Yo, what's the deal, fam? It's your man Eeze, top of the morning, this morning walk. What I'm thinking about today is Nas and Hit-Boy's collaboration and their run for that 2.5 to 3 years with KD series and the Magic series, and how all of that great music, although we're fans and we still consume it and we still push it out, to the atmosphere that you attempt to put other people on, a great opportunity was missed. And they're saying, yo, Eeze, yo, what are you talking about? So much great music. Just think about this, right? Let's just start with, let's use Magic as an example. Magic was a surprise drop, right? I think like the day before Christmas or something like that, or Christmas Day. Phenomenal piece of work. Lyricism, top-notch production, clean mix, just beats and rhymes. And at this present day, Nas fans, or people who've listened to it, even if you're not a Nas fan, if you had an opportunity to listen to it, you can't even front on it. But it's not in conversations of classic albums and timeless albums when we have those conversations. And I'm going to give one reason why. There's many reasons why, but here's my reason. And hear me out. Sometimes I think Nas is too nonchalant. If you think about their run, yes, they had the Madison Square Garden situation, one night only, culminating the entire experience. But there was never really a story associated with what they were doing. You would get the IG post, you would get, that's pretty much it. You'll get some Hit-Boy on Twitter or giving behind the scenes reactions to Nas initially here in production. But for the most part, it wasn't documented in a way to where it could have been historic. And sometimes I think that worked against him in the long run, because you can't have a KD2, which is arguably a top 2 or 3 album that they, for some people, top 1 album that they did together, and very few people talk about it. Because Nas is so great, it comes so easy to him musically that certain things he probably feels as though he doesn't need to do. Now, I'm not speaking for him, I'm speaking from a fan perspective and things that I see. For instance, let's use a song like Store Run, right? Why not do like an interview or something, or a quick video snippet stating what's the inspiration behind it? Fire song, a great concept too. Like, if you really get down to what it really means, it's beautifully written, soul music, but we don't really have the stories associated with it. And for them to have mass appeal where they have complete autonomy to do exactly what they want, sometimes I feel as though they drop the ball. Now, hear me out. He's not just a rapper. He has so many other things going on to where he probably don't got time for that. He running companies, he's doing tours, and God knows whatever else. But I just feel as though if they would have done more, make themselves more readily available to the public, I think that music that they put out together would have been received tenfold, because it's too much good music. You can hear the progression. KD1, a lot of people were, a little bit apprehensive with that relationship going forward, because there was some, although it had some great songs on there were some moments where it was like, oh, Nas a little rusty, like his breath control is off and stuff like that. But those are little simple things that if you were a hip-hop head, you listen for, right? But come back with KD2, you can just hear the chemistry clicking. You know what I mean? Like, records on there are fire. Like, when we talking about top to bottom as far as playing records, like, the replay value on KD2 is astounding. And I'm not gonna go in chronological order, but let's stay in the KD series. KD3, no features. That rollout was pretty decent. But the staying power, the fans have done the legwork, but I feel as though there was so many moments on that album to where we can go back to just letting the fans have a interactive experience. Break down these lyrics. Give the behind the scenes of why you did this and why you did that. Because there were so many songs on KD3 that we all still listen to. If you ask one of the top 3 songs on KD3, ask 10 people, you may get 8 who have 2 of the same songs. Anyone I know that listens to that album, everyone seems to have something different. It switches up constantly because people love that album. It has so many dope tunes on it. But the masses aren't talking about it. And I'm not talking about commercial music. Something as simple as Get Light. How is it not a video for that? Me being from the city, what these young folks are into, it was hip hop. You tapped into something from the early 90s, mid 90s with Big. Then you took it up to Harlem with the Get Light situation. How is there not a video for that? It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, I'm not going to say that they're professionals in what they do. So maybe they had a legitimate reason or answer as to why it wasn't. But I just feel as though those little things take away from why it feels as though that movement is starting to fade away in a sense. If fans such as myself or viewers like yourself or supporters of Nas don't continue to talk about it, because I don't feel as though they capitalize off of it. And I know some people are going to say, yo, well, you know Nas. Nas don't really talk. He let the music speak for himself. But sometimes storytelling is just something as simple as a sit down. I'm not trying to have you have an hour and a half special with Barbara Walters and like that. That's not what we're aiming for. But at the same time, the stories behind the music, I think that's what we're going more now. Storytelling has been here via visuals, but I'm feeling as though a lot of people are taking a while to catch up to it, because you have fans, musicians, who gravitate to artists just because of the story of the studio session. It's not just beats and rhymes, because we know Nas can do that in his sleep. I'm getting a little bit off track, but for the most part, I just feel like that run with Hit-Boy should have been much bigger than what it was. And it was great to witness as a fan of hip-hop and someone who makes videos or content or speaks my opinion or try to give some education. It was a beautiful thing to watch in real time how my favorite artist, the maturation process, how he came out of a shell, how he was working with a younger producer, but there was so much left on the table. And I don't know if they're going to revisit it, but I just feel as though there's so many fire songs that many weren't given the incentive to go listen to because it was happening so fast, you know? Magic 2 came. I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but right before you know it, Magic 3 is here. But Magic 2 had songs like Slow It Down, like, let's talk about that. Where's the visual? Where is the snippet where we hear from you the inspiration behind it? Or production breakdown? Like things like that. Things that are going to last or stick around, because the way people consume music now, they'll listen to your album on Friday and by Monday, they're looking for somebody else's joint or waiting for the sequel to the album they was listening to on Friday. It's crazy. Nobody really sits with music. So I just feel like I wish Nas and Hit-Boy would have really, and Master Pill, would have really understood the significance of what they were doing. Let me refrain from saying that, because I'm pretty sure they knew the significance, but just how great it could have been. Sometimes it came across it was just two individuals making music that was just happy to be doing it. But it could have been epic and out of here, because it's some fire songs, man. Great projects, good production, good synergy. But here we are, and very few people are talking about it. But with people like myself and other hip-hop outlets, we're going to keep it in the forefront or keep good music and keep speaking about it. But that's on my mind. I just wish that they could have done it a little differently. And yes, he sold out the Garden. I was there. I get it. He did the tour with the Wu. You know what I'm saying? Those are great things. I'm just speaking about that little pocket of 6 albums with Hit-Boy. It should mean much more to the culture. That's all I'm saying. Go get yours. Yeah.
Hey, yo, Eeze.